Alright, welcome nerds to this new video. In this video I'm going to show you how to create a forest bassline, and we are going to release this to the public. It's also part of the masterclass. The masterclass, of course, is right now at around 63 video lessons and still gets updated. It is the ultimate masterclass by Parandroid, by me, a person who has spent his life creating music. And today, as I said, forest bassline. I think we're going with Serum first. And without further ado, let's get this started. First, we want to add our kick module. Then we want to add our bass module. We're going with Serum. I didn't do it for a very long time. But you know what? I'm not afraid. I can do it. I remember the things, and I have 16 years under my belt, so that's fine. Next thing you want to do, go over here and let's put that to 146. Or to 140, whatever you like. But if you want to follow along very closely, then you can go ahead and put 146. I'm also going to, for the beginning, start to just loop it on one beat. And put two midis in. The way how I do that is I press Alt in Cubase and then I just can draw it. First you want to just put this anywhere there. To quickly activate voice meter as well. I think it was like that. Yeah, I think it should work now. Let's see. I forgot to set that before, but it should be all right. Yes, we have a signal. So we have our kick going, and we want to keep it relatively simple. It doesn't matter where you draw the kick here in bassism. So let me turn also my phone off. Excuse me for that. We don't know our note yet, so we don't need to set anything here yet, in my opinion. First, we should decide where we are going to, be at, in which note, ultimately. And this has to be determined, of course. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. So I'm going with G0 for this bassline. And it's very simple. I mean, we definitely need a low pass. That is clear. And the first thing that you want to do is put a random phase to 0. In my opinion, at least, because you want to have that kind of deactivated. What it does is it is basically going through different phase settings randomly, which is not very suitable for a kick and bass line that is perfectly in harmony with each other. So, once we have that, there's of course only a few ingredients. You need to understand that a bass line always will just be a saw, a Psytrance bass line that is, of course. Like any other bass line from other genres are more flexible when it comes to that stuff. But Psytrance bass lines, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but usually they are only saws, and this is because saws just have a harmony, dense structure as a waveform. So we are definitely going with that. And then you don't want to have any kind of random effects or phase behavior on it, so you deactivate that, and then you're going to the filter and you're activating that. And now Actually, to be very honest with you, like even without any sort of envelope, we could go ahead. And to be honest with you, I would like to also like showcase that. Maybe we do that in the next round of the video. I would feel very comfortable in bass stun or how to say init para. I'm going to call that. And I will make that one available for, I think, for free download, because it's like, it's so simple, but it's a starting point for people, you know, that are maybe just beginning. So from this very, very, very basic bass that I wouldn't keep untreated like that, but what I would do if I would go with that is I would use that very, very simple structure, and then through processing and through different shapers, equalizers, saturation tools, also like manipulating the phase behavior, distortion, like that, I would like change the whole dynamic and even use envelopes to also, you know, dramatic effect basically, but not in the bass. I'd love to show that to you as well, and I will. But right now we're going to make it a bit more complex. So what you want is you want to go over there, and then you want to do something like that. Then envelope 1, we're taking that and putting that on the cutoff. And then now it's different. Now we can turn down the cutoff and control the intensity here. So you can do stuff like that, for example, if you want to have a dramatically more flat bass as a starting point. But also a thing that you always should keep in mind, like even if you are producing your bass, you have to switch on the 5th monitor, the 4th monitor, because the oh my god, that is so hilarious. When I'm switching my monitor with the remote, it also switches a light that I'm just testing. The infrared reacts to it. Anyway, let's not get distracted, but where I actually was showing you a very important thing. This is that you of course need to have a look at your volumes. So that is completely out of whack, and that is why it also sounds a little bit strange. Now we are more in line. Attack usually would be on 0. And here, quite frankly, in like, for example, envelope settings, I mean, you can totally have ideas, of course, as a sound designer, you know, like envelopes just like create certain behavior over time, and you can have a distinct idea and then make it a reality. But more often than not, it's also like experimentation, right? You have an idea while you are like in the process of doing stuff. So for example, 18 milliseconds hold, you need to be very, very delicate with that, of course. Like if I'm going like, you know, like that, then it will be just like no envelope, of course. But if you are using it very minimally, like this, 13 milliseconds, so very, 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 very short time window. So I think I'm sort of happy with it. So the rest is really just like, there is no right or wrong, to be completely honest with you. In this stage specifically, you want to like really create the timbre that you want. It could be more crunchy, it could be less crunchy. Feel free to do weird stuff, of course. But keep it simple in terms of basslines. Otherwise, it will not be solid, and you want to have a solid foundation inside your track. Once you have this going on, what you can do is, of course, you could start processing in here. I don't really truly see a reason for that, if I'm very honest with you. Because, quite frankly, there are better, more sophisticated tools. But why not also? Like many ways can lead to good outcome, basically. I like the drive, actually. Maybe we shouldn't, I mean, you can use it if you want to have like sort of like a light pre-processing, for example, a little bit warmth. I wouldn't overdo it with those, because they're not too exact. If you are using other tools, which I will show you right now, then they are more exact, of course. Like, FabFilter tools or many other companies will go through it, Waves, etc. They offer tools which are very exact in their behavior. By the way, we know our notes, so we can go back now to the kick. So right now, it's, I think, 58.9. 58.9 is A sharp. Is it A sharp? It's sort of like in between A and A sharp. It sounds not bad, to be honest with you. So what you can choose here is the end frequency, quote unquote, note, the frequency that it's ending on. And of course, notes are just basically representing frequencies. So as you can see, the cool thing is that in Bassism you actually can open that and then you see A is 27.5, that's very low though, but like A is 55, for example. The equivalent of an very low A0 is 55 Hertz. Let's listen to it, how it sounds on the same note. And let's listen to it on how it sounds like that. Yeah, you really hear how it's like moving into its place on G in this case. But again, don't be afraid. Don't get confused like, oh, there's numbers. I cannot like put that on whatever frequency you want. You totally can. Totally can, totally should. Let's go through the parameters. We did it many times, but we're going to do it one more time. F start is the start frequency of the kick. That's that little bit. F end is the end frequency of the bit. That's like actually, in this case, you have T end. So F start frequency, F end frequency of the sweep. T end is the sustain of the end frequency of the sweep, and then T sweep is the length of the sweep, and the length of the sweep and the length of the end of the sustain of the sweep is the length of the kick. So as you can see, we have 94.6 here and 47.6 here, which makes 142.2 in total. And this is how you have the overview. V-sweep is the articulation of the modulation of the kick, and TDK, of course, is simply a decay in the end. And you can choose if that is linear or exponential or, you know, however you want it. And then we have polyphony, distortion, and a couple of other things that we're going to have a look at in just a minute. We have noise. That is usually not really needed though. But let's go through it. I already sort of like it. And please keep in mind that the greatest of the greats understood that it's often about keeping things simple and not overdoing things and being at ease, you know? So that's why I already saved it, because actually, you know, it's not too bad already. I like the timbre, it's something unique. It's not a VB1 bassline, which is nice, but now let's go wild on the kick. We saved it, so now we can go wild on the kick. We can make it a lot more right, guys. You know what I also going to do is I'm going to put a maximizer here. Not too much, but a bit. Just so that we have it a little bit more easier to hear it. You just should like be mindful to not forget completely about it and then like export it with it or something like that. But you will see it immediately after the export, so that is also remedied quite easily. Now we actually hear it. For this bass, I like it sort of in the middle. As you can see, there's a dramatic difference in between having V-sweep all to the left or quite to the left, or more in the middle, or more at 25%, sort like 0.24. In this case, you get sort of a nicer lower end. I'm gonna keep it like this for the moment. There are a couple of things. We can have a look at noise, of course. I usually keep it off, because if I would really want to add that, then I would add that after the fact, but you can also keep it in like so slight, you know. I'm gonna keep it in super slight. Then we have the envelope, of course, which double click will put a point inside it. And it's just a volume envelope, very simple, meaning you can see, okay, when I turn this one down, then you can see the representation right here. When I pull this one down, so I'm pretty sure that the guys that designed this device put those ones in for a reason. So for example, I always feel like this one is representative of like the woodiness of the kick. So it's like, you know, the mids 4-500 sort of story. Actually, the noise is making me crazy. We can try to add a little bit of distortion. Should deactivate the bass for a sec. There is a very weird... So yeah, now I'm modeling the kick. Longer will make it more fat. So usually I'm making longer kicks. Like this is more than 200 milliseconds. Maybe we turn it back just a little bit. Yeah, the distortion really doesn't work. Now I like changed a lot of the settings because of the distortion. So I usually don't use it, and I just like saw why I usually don't use it. Let's look at the volumes. Kick should be like slightly louder than the bass. But don't only look at the numbers, of course. You need to use your ears as always. Now we can go back to the bass. I'm just gonna go from there. What I'm going to do now is start the processing. Or actually, we're going to do that in the next video. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed it. Like, this was like a little bit of kick production, bass production, modeling. No processing yet. And keep in mind, it's all about being creative. That means there is no predefined decisions. You need to be able to also experiment. Sometimes it's time to rely on what you know. Sometimes it is important to step out of your bounds and do things differently and think outside of the box. This is how you evolve ultimately. With that said, I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you want to learn more, there is a huge masterclass on audionerds.net/courses. You will find the ultimate masterclass by yours truly. And it is right now, still until 2nd of December, I believe, available for only a fraction of the normal price, 120 euros instead of 299. So go head over to audionerds.net/courses and check out the masterclass. A lot of the stuff is already, you can see the curriculum, you can see what you will be able to learn, and you can even access a bunch of the content. So thank you for watching and thank you for happy learning, basically. I see you guys in the next lesson where we're going to process this bassline. Cheers, guys.